All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, it's time for the Meshery dev meeting. Your once a week, your once every Wednesday dose of cloud native, maybe, unless you're getting a dose from somewhere else as well. Good. Hey, we've got so my name's Lee, and I'll be your host today. I am not intended to be your host each time. Other people should be rotating in. And so we'll be working towards that. We do record our calls. We stream them out to YouTube. So if you're not a subscriber, then maybe you don't, I don't know, maybe you don't believe in yourself. Like, hey, if you're on the call, congrats, you're famous on YouTube. Go subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button, hit that subscribe, and just kidding. Anyway, we do live streams. So if you're going to say your password aloud or use some swear words, at least use some choice ones if you do. We do, in all seriousness, abide by the CNCF code of conduct. And so, be nice and pleasant if you can. We also have the meeting minutes shared in the Zoom chat. Do take a moment to drop your name in, and many of you are. That's great. We often make a joke like, or I make a bunch of terrible jokes, and I'll say like, oh, if you put your name down, we're going to raffle off a massive prize. And the thing is like, oh, we probably should do something like that. It wouldn't take very much for someone to just go back in the history real fast, see if the same name shows up X number of times. And we probably got a badge for that somewhere. Gosh, what if we did have a badge for that? That would be great. Call for a volunteer to create a badge. We can maybe talk about that and what badges are. Who else has agenda items today? Is Kingsley with us? I don't think so. So he would actually be able to speak to badges a little bit. But okay. Anyway, I think the only other announcements that I've heard people talking about are one, the cloud, Meshery cloud, or the Meshery's remote provider had some trouble for a couple to 3 hours today. Yeesh. Last week, it was 100% uptime. And that means that the team that helps keep it up was doing good. Maybe the best record for a week thus far. That won't be the same this week. So maybe we'll hear from those folks today about what the issue was and so what their analysis is. That would be wonderful as a super heavy hint for those that have worked on it. And the other thing we like to do ritualistically is break the ice with newcomers and make it super awkward and ask them to go out on a limb and say hi to everybody. So let's do it. Jakob Idris, have you been on this call before? Have you said hi to everybody? Have you introduced yourself to people on this call? Because if not, you're one of our lucky winners today. You get to say hi. Do you mind doing that? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. So I'm new to this community, and I'm trying to get as much knowledge of what is going on here before I go into contribute. So I'm Idris Yakub, and I would like to contribute to this project. But I'm taking my time to know what's going on. Hence my weekly attendance of this meeting.
Nice. Okay. Jakob, not all of that came through. I thought I heard you say that you'd like to thank the Academy and maybe some other things. But, and for those of you who don't watch the Academy Awards, maybe that joke isn't funny. But Jakob, thanks a bunch for introducing. Where are you calling in from, by the way?
I'm here. I'm here.
All right.
I'm calling from
from Nigeria, I think. Not from that big old city, Lagos, by chance. No, oh no, not one of those guys. All right, good. Oh, fantastic. So Jakob, if you can make it past the initial hazing with some, harassment aimed your way, it's all downhill from here. So it's wonderful to have you. Thank you for introducing. Yeah, let's help you find a home, so to speak. Well, great. All right. Well, let's jump into today's topics. We've got Mr. Sadiq, Mr. Abu Bakr. He's got his name up here first, but Abu Bakr, I don't know if perhaps you're intending to speak towards some of the work you've been doing on Meshery CTL and in the docs.
Highly, like currently I'm standardizing all the supported platform docs, and we're also working on that Meshery.io integration page also I'm working on it.
Yeah, very good. Say a bit more. So you got a couple of items. Can you say a bit more about that second one? So you said there's a Meshery.io enhancement for, or it's a docs.meshery.io enhancement, right? For
It's what we are currently doing is that first initially, like when you go to the page of Meshery.io, there will be like all the integration that has been like added to the Meshery, all those adapters and services, or all those things will be like displayed in a very single page. We need to like make a slight bit of UI change to just show around 4 to 5 rows and then have a button below or elsewhere to see the entire list, and another navigation button to lead to the 3D page. There is a page known as meshery.io/integration. When someone goes to the URL, right, they will be having a 3D visualization which shows the entire integrations of all those stuff. So they're working on that. And another thing is, if you click on that.
Abu Bakr, if I can interrupt for a second. By the way, there's been some prior art there. I think there's even an open PR or two that more or less achieve that sort of a thing. So okay. That's wonderful. Yeah, if you could, I guess to borrow from Rex, if you could rub your mind with maybe Saruchi, I think she might have worked on it, and there might have been someone else about what you were describing here. And then as we switch to your second topic, which is the more juicy one, how hot on the trail are we to representing all of those individual integrations in the docs?
At least if someone for others, if someone click on that integration, right, they will be navigated to the docs.meshery.io, slash or somewhat the name of the integration. They will be navigated to that page. The data for that page, we need to fetch it from Excel, a file which was kept outside. So we need to do that work. Currently working on how we can do that. Me and Vivek was working on it.
Yeah, good. I've got an outstanding question for you, and I'll ask it again. How hot on the trail are you? Is this something that you feel comfortable in achieving this week? If not, that's okay. We need it this week, and so it's okay. We might get you paired up with another so that either of the two of you can follow along while someone else.
I think we can do it by this week. I will try to complete it and raise the PR. I think we can do it.
Nice. Yeah. Does anyone have questions or comments about that initiative that Abu Bakr was just referring to? There's something worth highlighting here briefly, and it is the significant. Okay, so the genesis of the discussion about an enhancement to the docs. There's a couple of things. One, the docs need a complete rewrite, the whole friggin' thing, and so Abu Bakr has been working on the installation guides. He's been making his way through most of the Kubernetes pages. He's even created a new Helm page, and he's he's been reworking many of them. All of the rest of them need redone, rewritten, reapproached. The information architecture of the site itself needs potentially reapproached. I think it will probably, unless someone has a differing opinion, it will probably end up being the same high-level categories of information: guides, tasks, extensibility, reference. There's some sort of like general project concerns and community concerns. It would be really nice if this right here, this is like an overview of what Meshery is. It needs rewritten as well. These are being enhanced a little bit, but they need, any of you can ask a question and write and figure out an answer, by the way. There's lots of questions to be asked. But these two right here are bothersome to me personally because they really belong, either overview belongs way up here. Anyway, when you have a menu item at this level, you end up with the way that the CSS works, the way that the JavaScript works, is it'll put another significant horizontal line like this. And it would be ideal if maybe these were just adjacent, if the FAQs maybe went under here. And so if anybody's inclined, there's a ton of work to do in the docs. There are features in the docs that are being documented. Saruchi and Mr. Sam Debaditya are documenting part of those features. There's a lot more to do in the docs. It's a great way to learn the project is to try to document it. I encourage you to jump into the docs if your written English passes muster. If you can write a full sentence without a grammatical mistake, you can choose one with only 5 words, that's fine. Most of us on the call seem to not pass that test. And that's in part why the docs need rewritten. But I encourage you all to, for Husseina, who's on the call, Husseina, related to the work that Abu Bakr is doing with respect to Meshery CTL, is I wanted to ask you if this particular enhancement, if you had eyes on this, or if this makes sense to you, if this was approached in a good way.
I think he was suggesting for kind, right? Meshery installation in kind, right?
Yeah, he certainly did. He rewrote that page. And then there's this other enhancement, and I don't know if it's good when I host or bad when I host, but we tend to digress and learn a lot of things, but we don't always make it through all the agenda. I think that that's the right way to go, but please,
documentation part, right? You're referring to.
Yeah, that it was that for each individual Meshery CTL command, there is this is, as you know, this is auto-generated documentation based on the information found in the Golang that from which
yes, we commented these things in the code itself so that it can be picked up and displayed here, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And Abu Bakr, do you want to explain what was a recent piece of work done here?
Surely. Like what we are like previously, like all these documentation for the CLI commands were auto-generated. Whenever they run the file, right, all of them will get generated. But if someone comes and add anything manually, right, it will get overridden. So the manually added scripts and all those content screenshot or anything, any videos will all get overridden. So we need to protect that manually added content. So what we have done is that we suggested to to have a previously we decided to go with a comment. Inside that comment, if someone comes and add anything, like those comments will be protected, those data will be protected. Later then we decided to go with the easier step of having, if someone needs to come and add something manually to this page, right, they can give it as a hyperlink to an HTML page to another page. so that the data from that page will be displayed over here. If the file contains a specific line, right, we will like protect, we will take that line and we will protect it, and then after that generated, we will reattach them to the same file, so that the manually added all those contents will be like preserved. It will not get altered. That's the work I have.
Okay.
Abu Bakr, do you have an example? Has that been documented by chance inside of the contributor docs?
The PR for that change, right? Code changes, that has the documentation, like a warning or something, like you asked me to, like you have added it in acceptance criteria, right? I have like the same PR, only that change is also there.
Oh, okay. Is that PR still outstanding? Is that?
Yes, it's outstanding. Like it's waiting for someone, one more reviewer, I think so.
Oh, I wonder, Husseina, I wonder who that could possibly be. Good. It's just been so long since I've gotten to like harass Husseina. So this is lovely. So Husseina, yeah,
I had one question actually. So the manually added comments, right? So in the source code also we have this MD file, and then from the Go files we come up with a auto-generated content, right?
Yeah.
So we are finally going to merge this static MD file with manual comments and the auto-generated file, so that everything gets retained, right? So I wanted to understand, why do we maintain this static MD file? Because we moved to the auto-generated content itself, right? Or is it that while compiling this source code, this MD file gets generated, and that is what gets converted into this HTML file? So in between that step, like it's like the development flow, that if someone adds a comment, that has to be retained. Is that the purpose?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Like you have added the new one, like new comments below, I think so. Like we can go with a different approach.
Yeah, where did I put those comments? I don't know. Yeah, Husseina, but largely the purpose here is to offer people, contributors, the convenience of augmenting existing individual CLI command pages with additional examples and usage, maybe a screenshot, maybe a video, without having to go into Golang, if that's not necessarily an area of comfort, or like with
whichever we can't accommodate through code, right? So such things we can do it here, right? That's okay, got it.
So the approach, there'd been, and so anyway, good. Abu Bakr you might expand on the description of your approach, or the fact that we changed to an include, just so that Hussein is aware. And it would be great if in the description of your PR, you've got it right here. You might want to just kind of copy paste this into the description of your PR, because it's a great explanatory thing that, about even in the docs here, if you end up giving, and maybe you did, if you end up giving an example for folks to follow, like what it would look like if someone added an include for this command here specifically, and that would, and if the reality is, like, if you follow an explicit naming scheme, file naming scheme, well, then you can have the fact that files are, you can have auto includes happening, like, whether it's does that make sense? People don't have to manually go update and add an include. It would already be included if there is. Okay. And we think about it.
Understood.
All right, good. Well, we're only 25 minutes in. We got through one person, so I apologize. Husseina, there's one other thing to interject here, and really, I think that this is helpful for everyone to be aware of. That is, Husseina, there's an open pull request that if you have time for, I'm sorry, not an open pull request, an open issue. If you end up having time for, that's wonderful. If you don't, it's good for everyone to be aware of and for others to potentially pick up. That is that it would be nice if Meshery CTL had a model command. We often, in the past, we've talked about mesh model as like this system by which Meshery organizes its logical constructs, its logical object model. Anymore, we've been stepping away from the term mesh model because it's just too many portmanteaus and too much service mesh centric stuff. And so still, though, Meshery uses the same underlying logical constructs that look a bit like this. Just these individual models for how it models out the elements under management. And that's all stored in a central spreadsheet at the moment. That spreadsheet feeds 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 different locations. It feeds Meshery UI and like 4 other websites. And so it's quite an important spreadsheet. Over time, it's desirous that users are able to import and export models. And having that as a function of Meshery server means that we would probably have those features inside of MeshKit so that Meshery CTL can have a command, like a model command to import these models. What I said sounds like a mouthful. The CLI client portion of it doesn't necessarily have to be. And so there's a well-written issue that describes the creation of a new command. Is that making any sense so far?
Yeah, actually, like we already have the component generator, which is like a script. So if we would include that into Meshery CTL also, so I think these two can be tied up together, like because the use case is a bit related. Then we can also like generate components from there and also like add any components, additional ones.
It absolutely, it's totally. Husseina, I don't know if this is an area of familiarity for you, but those scripts that Abid is referring to, they're under the folder scripts, and there's 2 of them. There's 2 of them. Just for reference. The other way of grokking this, and again, this is good for everyone to, I think, hear, is those models, they contain components and relationships and policies and connection. They contain all these. The other way of viewing those, the ones that any given Meshery server that you sign into, it will have any number of models registered. And there is a registry browser that's shown through this client, the UI client, to be able to just browse peruse that. So just to kind of close the loop, kind of go full circle so there will be an import button here in this client, just like there would ideally be an import command, system model import, or something similar. Zaki isn't.
I have a question, Lee. So this model command should take any Excel sheet and import whatever is there in that right? Like instead of one centralized Excel sheet, what you were referring to, it should give users an option to import whatever models they define in a input file. That's what we are looking at.
Yeah. And in its first incantation, like in the first iteration here, it would be the structure of the spreadsheet is already defined. You wouldn't necessarily have to go touch the server-side code to manipulate any of that. Rather, you should be able to interface with Uzair Sheikh, who's on the call, to have him confirm the Meshery CTL, to just confirm the REST APIs that Meshery CTL can use to do what you just said. It's just that having to do all of what you just said is a big old mouthful. And so Uzair Sheikh can partner with you on the server side.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll talk to him. Yeah.
Allow me to muddle this one step further. And that is to say, right now it is extraordinarily convenient to use a spreadsheet to define all those integrations. It is so very helpful it greases the wheels to editing all these things quickly. Eventually, over time, it might be that the project can move off of the spreadsheet. Eventually, when Meshery imports and exports models, sure, maybe we would, from a legacy perspective, still support the import-export of a CSV, of a spreadsheet. But I just wanted to say that ultimately the goal here is to deal in terms of OCI, to adopt OCI as the packaging and distribution format for models. So as people import and export a model, that it's all of that the model contains, which is the any number of component definitions and relationship definitions and policies, and that those are bundled, just instead of it just being a tar-gz of JSONs, of YAMLs, that it would be OCI. So just as something to look forward to after this step. Does that follow? I mean, does that make sense?
Yes. I wanted to understand, like, what is the what is the next step, what is expected out of to support this OCI kind of things, right? Like, for what reason we have to support that? I understand that it's a standardization part, right? The OCI format.
Oh man, don't. Oh, what a great question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm asking about the next step. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Would you do everyone here a favor and please ask that question somewhere out here, because I will answer it. I can't help myself but answer it in full, and ain't nobody on this call want to listen to me talk longer than I already have. So there's a bunch of reasons outside of the very good one that you just said about it being a standard, and I'll explain a bunch of other reasons why, and you can, and please disagree as well if it doesn't make sense. Since we're out here, and since Hussein is going to be out here in a moment asking that question, and since we've been talking about the mesh models, or I'm sorry, since we've been talking about Meshery models, and since if you're like me and you listened to some redheaded guy talk about logical constructs very quickly, and you're saying, I kind of got what he said, but not, I would highly encourage you to make use of this analogy, to let it settle in and comment on it, to grok it in this way with this analogy here. Hopefully it helps. Good. We are on to the next topic, which is Sonali. Sonali, are you here? And if so, can we compel you to share with us today?
We have a connection data table right now. So I have makes some changes in the connection table. So it combine all the K connection and all the other connection as a combination. So there for K connection there are few other action like flush, missing, and operator. So those action are implemented right now, and users can change the status of any connection, and they can easily delete any connection from here, and also bulk delete is available. And for uh, import Kate connection, there's a modal, so we can easily upload the connection and import the configuration file and implement a new connection. That's about the connection. So Yash was implementing the missing variable. I think
Wonderful. So you're going to hide the connect Helm red repository. And then I might have missed it just now, but did you say that under a Kubernetes connection that it's still a work in progress, or no?
yeah,
When you
it is almost done. But in here we have another table like this. This part was not implemented because right now the day all the connection data, K connection didn't get this data, so that's the reason that part was not implemented. Other than that, all other data and everything is combined in the connection table.
Sweet. Who else has an update or comments or questions?
So I updated the in meshing table in Senali's PR. I also updated this switching thing. I also removed this connect helm repository. I think she need to pull the latest merge, so it will be removed also. The only thing remaining is to test the data on this table, because right now I wasn't able to test on the I think resources data. So yeah, that's the only thing remaining. It will be helpful if you can do Sonali, because the reason is in my mini queue I cannot like deploy my any pods because of less space. So you can just deploy any pod and it will be return the resources, and you can see in the resources table. So that's a that thing is left only.
I'll check.
Quick check for Nav. If are developers, contributors here, are we able to share a sample Meshery database that is populated with mesh sync info, such that contributors here don't have to run a Kubernetes cluster in order to have sample data?
No. Actually, the thing is, even if we use a sample database, the server is designed in a way that it will return only those information which is passed to it through that context selector. So you won't have the specific server ID in the context selector, even though you will have data for that. So we can create a debug flag in our system which can help us to achieve that. But currently, it's not possible.
Can our sample database have a sample connection? Or I guess the debug flag would
Yeah, like a
facilitate.
mock connection.
Yes, that is also possible, but like the way our server registration is designed is that for the specific server ID we have.
I see. You like your idea is better. Okay, I get it. Sure. You know, just yeah, perfect.
No, it's the
Perfect.
same thing.
Yeah, no. And I'm just, man, it feels so good to be able to harass you. It's just so great. That would be wonderful to have a debug flag. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's an amazing idea, Pranav. That would be wonderful. Could you, do you mind opening a GitHub issue about that? I mean, it will improve the quality of many people's lives because so many people come to contribute and then they stub their toe on Kubernetes while trying to contribute to Meshery. And so, yeah, and so exactly what Mario said is, mock data. And so, wonderful. Yash and Sonali, I know you guys have that 4-letter word this week, exam, at some point, but are we still on course for this week, this landing?
No, I think connection is almost done. The only thing I have a question about is having the connection page, because inside a connection page we are showing connection and meshing. So this thing needs to figure out. Otherwise, meshing is also done. The only thing I just need to is test it. So otherwise, it's done.
If I got what you're saying, if mesh sync tab isn't quite ready by the time it's time to publish the connections page, which I'm hoping is today, then just hide the tab, if you would, or disable it or whatever. Wonderful. Anybody else have comments on this area?
Yeah, actually, just a small UI suggestion for the switcher for changing the status. Can we change the anchor to the bottom? Of course, like it comes on the face of the button itself and it does look good. So if it would be like a drop down, just the anchor should be on the bottom of the button.
Okay, I make the change.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone.
Yep. Hey, Usman, go ahead.
Okay. Please, I'm just joining this community. I would like to know more. I don't really understand what you guys are saying. So I'd like to know more.
And that's
How can I guess?
Yeah. Hey, kudos to you for asking. Like, many other people come by and don't do that, and then they don't come back. There is a call tomorrow. It's a newcomers meeting that happens once a week, every Thursday. Oh man, it's purpose made to answer that particular question. And some of the same fine folks that are on this call right now host it, and they'll pump you full of info. Would that be okay if we ask you to ask that question again tomorrow on the newcomers call?
Okay. Thanks for answering the question. I would like to know the time for the meeting tomorrow.
Check out the Zoom chat. You'll be messaged to you. There's two other things thank you much, Usman. There's two other things to say to tie off this last topic, and that is that the system settings, that this environment tab shall go away, as it will be reincarnated in that new connections page. So it's something for everyone to be aware of. The second thing to say is, Uzair, you have on your list this week the notion that Meshery server through its REST APIs will be handing back connection status and appropriate statuses to be able to transition to. Is that right? I'll ask Uzair again in a moment. Well, actually, it's Uzair's up now. So there's an Uzair, are you with us? Oh, I think he dropped. Okay. Pranav, you're up.
I'm sharing my screen. So do we want to discuss the issue, or later on I will give an analysis? I can just talk about my Meshery items.
I think all is open to bear to the extent that you want to, or it's okay to speak to any of it if you'd like.
Okay, so the issue was like as you can see, our users query doesn't take that much time.
Sorry.
It just takes
Wait, what issue?
issue of that downtime that we had earlier.
I'm just trying to give you the right prompt to be able to introduce the topic to everybody. I don't know that everybody knows what you're about to talk about, and so.
Okay. So the context is like this is a Meshery has a number of Meshery has remote providers. The work of remote provider is to add different functionality to the base functionality of Meshery so that you can add different identity, storage, and different capabilities through a separate server. So one of the remote provider is Meshery Cloud, and the thing is, few hours ago there was a downtime in which Meshery Cloud was unreachable. Now, since Meshery Cloud is unreachable, that means like Playground would also be unreachable, and nobody would be able to log into Meshery if they want to sign in with Meshery remote provider. So the issue was there's a users page, and it queries users data based on what organization we select and in what context we are currently in the UI. So you can see it just takes few milliseconds to fetch users data, and even if I switch organizations, it will again take very few seconds. Currently I don't have access, so I cannot see users for this organization, but if specifically I have access, then it will only take few milliseconds or 1 second. So the problem was, if we click on edit user button, then the thing is we make an extra request to the backend to fetch all the extra information, even though we already have this info. And this at that moment we do search, and that search was causing extra time. And I had actually raised this concern few days ago on one of the PRs. So I think we never got back to fixing that UI issue. So once we fix the UI, and in the backend, I would be enhancing the query specifically for search so that we don't again see this issue. So this was the only thing. And so any questions on this? Now it's back up because I restarted the database. Yes.
Sorry, does this happen because of the way that the let's say, functional component has a certain use effect, which is cycle like after interaction of some sort? Like the question would be how to avoid a front sending too many requests. And I don't expect an answer, but maybe we should document that out so that it serves as a best practice. What things not to do, things to avoid, etc.
I think your voice is breaking due to bandwidth, but I think you were asking about documenting something related to APIs as a best practice. Did the user account because of this? No, actually,
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Yeah. The question is about like basically React development. Like, should we document a set of best practices of what to avoid in React components, like how not to write use effects and not user component, but use effect. So it's like a hook, right? Or well, not a hook, sorry, but yeah. I think you got my point, right? Like how to avoid sending so many requests and so on.
Yes. Yeah, and I understood. Actually, the problem is we already have all the information on this. We already fetched top 10 information for specific use case. So we don't have to refetch when we click on edit. So we have to just reuse information we already have. So it's not necessary to re-fetch a request to get more info because we already have all this info. So yes, I understand that there should be a best practice, and I did noted the same point on the PR as well that made this change, but we actually didn't fix it, but now we would. So yes.
Yeah, of course, because I'm sure whoever contributed to this page like didn't on wasn't in. I'm sure there must be some kind of so everyone somewhere how to write a component that doesn't react code that does not send so many requests. And my other question would be, um, if you're not allowed to see the other organizations' data, why do you see them in the drop down? Instead of code, like in the top level down, like the top right, you said you have permissions to see the orgs. Remember, you said, "Oh, yeah, I don't have permissions." So if you don't, like, why do you see?
Yeah. So you're asking regarding this?
Why does your front end touch the name? Yes.
Yeah, actually,
like why would you even see those values in the dropdown if your users are authorized? It just feels like unsecure. But if I were an actual user, I'd be concerned that my data is really like private. In this case, right? Does the question make sense?
actually, your voice is breaking, so I'm
We'll
not
have to
able to.
Yeah, sorry, I got a bit of a. Oh, sorry.
Super. Yeah, we just can't hear you, Mario. It's like your voice is loud, but it breaks up so much that it's like,
Okay. I think it's some kind of echo. Is it better now?
nope, it's not an echo. I wish it was. We should get your questions answered. I think that you said you will type them out. That sounds wonderful. Also, I think you said you're going to send like $100 in the mail. That sounds great too. I'll give you my address. So just while I'm making things good. Thanks for being a good sport, Mario. Pranav, did you have other items here?
Yes. So I'll quickly move on to the next item, which is one fix and one feature that I added. One was regarding like we have two ways of designing our infrastructure. One is designer, which is Meshops V1, and the other one is Meshmap, which is Meshops V2. Basically, visual way of doing things. So in Meshmap, we actually drag and drop different components, and we recently added a new component that is environment. Earlier, it was not draggable. It was basically because the schema was invalid, and that was because I missed a comma somewhere here. So that was the only issue. I added it, and now it works fine. And you will see something like this on the canvas. Now this will enhance our view is in future when we would be showing the entire different environments and connections entirely on the canvas, then this would be more helpful. So now this is fixed. So this is one bug fix which I did. The second was considering there are no questions on this.
Actually, like,
yes,
is the relation configured for like the environment? Like, can we drop things in it right now or not?
No, currently like comment because it's an in annotation is true for that. So nothing is. It's just like a shape currently. So yeah.
I also have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say about remote providers?
Yeah, so I said the remote provider helps us to enhance the functionality of Meshery. So it
remote
helps.
providers have the functionality to enhance the functionality of Meshery. There's your answer, Lee.
Yeah, that is the answer. That's wonderful. Very good. Oh, thank you very much for that, Sandra.
About the providers, do we have somewhere in our documents like exactly what providers are used for?
Oh,
is it laid out somewhere?
Very much
Or it is okay.
in the docs. Yeah, in Meshery docs.
The
there's
docs. Great.
Yeah.
Uh,
We-
and
moving on
also the relationship between Meshery Cloud and access to MeshMap, right? Extension.
Yes,
That's right.
I've shared the link with you.
Cool.
So you can read more about
just in case anyone
extensibility.
Yeah, just in case anyone has questions, you can refer to this. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to the final item, that is about adding visibility to our content APIs. So Meshery as of today supports filters and designs. It also supports application, but it will be deprecated. So basically, these API did not supported filtering in terms of visibility. So now I've added that support. So this will help us to have a better UX on MeshMap as well as other UI. So this is also fixed, merged and released. So hopefully there are no
Actually,
questions.
and just a small question regarding this, like which filters are like by default applied? I think the
Yeah,
publish
yeah. By
is like
default, it would be public.
okay, public and private or just public.
Just public. Like currently, it's like the older functionality would be in place. So if you don't pass any, it will just show public. But if you pass, then it will do what you pass.
Yeah, even if it's an empty array, because I think when I use an empty array, it was giving back all public, published, and private. I don't know, like,
Actually,
is it a bug or is like defined behavior?
No, currently it's like it will, if you don't pass anything, then it will work the way it used to be. That is, it will only return you public and the private data of your signed in user. If you are a signed in user, it will return you your data, which is private, as well as public data of any other user. So that's the older default functionality.
Yeah, that makes sense because we are now having like different tab views, and when we clear the filters, we'd expect like to only show public and private because we have separated the published ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Hey, we're right at the end of our time today. Who has something urgent and quick that they needed to convey? Parthib, are you done with the registry rewrite?
Yes, so I added the animation. Let me. So I added this, and I think Ritik's changed some mockups in the Figma. So I need to change that on the UI too. So that's my update.
Well, I'm sorry, did you just share an example of the transition, or were you sharing anything?
Yes, yes, I implemented it in the front end.
Great. And is this recording of that? Otherwise,
Yes,
there
yes,
you go.
yes. This is the recording of it.
All right. And the colors changed too, huh? That's nice. I wonder if we shouldn't start with the same color. I don't know. Anyway. Good. And
So
you're going to
I'm
work.
thinking to add this reverse animation. Like when I click on the overview, it will like the tabs will come up and in the form of cards. So should I add this? Like this is the normal animation, and when I click on the overview, I am thinking to add the reverse animation of it.
Yeah, you want to like reverse the same animation, so now the cards will
Yes, yes,
end up getting
yes, yes,
bigger.
yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that would look good.
Okay.
Akshay, yeah. Oh, yeah. And Akshay and Debo and Devyadita. Akshay, you want to go and hit Devyadita real fast? I think Saruchi and Devaditya Damn it. It's that easy. Debaditya. The two of you both raised the PR for the same thing. Sandra and I would like for you guys to talk and figure out how to move forward. Great.
You're killing it today, Lee.
Daniel, say it again.
They're saying you're killing it today with the pronunciations.
Oh man, oh yeah. yeah.
Should I start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So this was just to update the hover effect on the mesh map doc. I fixed the drag effect, which was visible when we are dragging the shape component out of it, and added the hover effect. And here's the quick demo. Now there are couple of suggestions I need to ask here about, like, currently there is like it comes from down to up and then it's just refill its original position. Now in the component section, like it gives the half, it comes from the down, like it gives the half effect, like it's going to be placed up again here. So should I add that effect to the shape one as well or not?
Yeah, actually, we are going to like replicate the same behavior between the drawer and head. It's actually my bad. I didn't properly implement it completely. So it's just that like we need to also check when we hover, like when we are dragging and we get back inside the tooltip for dragging, we just pull it back. So that one effect is missing right now. And also like refilling it when we get outside of this boundary. So we have to put a listener also on this component is of the whole shape switch palette.
So will you be working on it, or I can add that part in the same PR?
Yeah, sure, you can add it in the same PR.
Okay, great. And just one of the quick question about the dragging part not working in the MacBook Safari. So because in Apple Docs, given that the drag event is not generated automatically, so there were a few workaround which was implemented in the code as well, but it was commented, like drop effect was set to move, but it was commented earlier. So it would be great if like any Mac user would, like, I will paste this link in the chat and you can go and play with play in the playground and check whether the drop effect is visible in the Safari or not. If it's visible in the drop effect or effect allowed section, just let me know and I will add that part to my code so that it will be fixed for Safari as well. And that will be it from my side.
Debaditya? Cool. Yeah, Debaditya, you have to double time it if you can.
Hello, am I audible?
Yep.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, okay. So basically, I was working on this issue. Wait, I'm showing it. Yeah, so basically, I was working on this issue about adding description of the docs for the alerts, right? Alerts.html. Yeah, so I have added here the alerts.html, like what alerts.html is all about, and under the contributing docs.html. But actually, he had mentioned that this version as like the archive. So what do I need to make the changes here? What are the changes that I need to make? Basically,
Yep. Good. Hey, we're over time, and I hate that, man. I hate it. Like and you'll have to ask this question. contact Saruchi, please. You need to talk to her anyway. You guys both made the same updates. And so you'll want to figure out how not to step on each other's toes. And in the same breath, she might be able to offer some counsel towards the questions that you're asking.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Awesome. Saruchi, can you do us a favor? Can you reach out to Devadita? He may not know who you are, Coder 13. If you're still here, she's not here. All right, I'll do it. Daniel, I think we have the Meshery CI meeting tomorrow, and you're working on a component that's too critical not to discuss each week. And so that's my mistake for not having heard from you. We are over time, and I wonder, are you going to be around tomorrow for that CI meeting?
Yeah, I'm going to be around. Sorry, the whole of last week I was a bit unwell. I didn't get much done. I'm just winding up on some few requests that I got in terms of feedback, and then we should have something to discuss tomorrow. Yeah, so I think tomorrow we can hash it out. I'll be in a better place.
Lovely. Well, good. So, hey, tomorrow there's a newcomers call a couple hours before, 3 hours before this time. And then there's a build and release, GitHub workflows, continuous integration call a couple hours later than this time. It's either 2 hours or 3 hours later. And we should talk about the Meshery v0.7.0 release on the release call tomorrow, too. So,
Can you hear me? Can I just take a 2-3 minutes to just discuss the PR?
You can. I'm gonna hand off host if someone else wants to continue, but we gotta. I'm more than happy to cut any of my topics each time, but it's just I always allow us to abuse other people's time. So you make a recording, like just stay on the Zoom, make your own Zoom recording and send it in if you want to present it like that. That would be lovely, Rai.
Okay.
We just didn't make it. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'll look at it like we want to hear it. So,
yeah.
All right, wonderful. Okay, hey, we'll see you all back in the discussion forum on Slack or wherever. So, thanks all. See ya.
Bye. Bye.
Bye everyone. Bye.